Chapter 1, The Extremely Tragic Death. Tanyuan Continent, Changing Kingdom 209th Years. On the 6th day of June, Valentine's Day, the capital city was bustling with activity. Colorful lanterns were hanging in the night sky, and pedestrians were talking and laughing. Young girls and boys were gathering in crowds and groups as they recited poems, and there was a competition of chi art on the stage. Cheerful chatting and laughing floated in the evening breeze. In a quiet and elegant courtyard on the outskirts of the capital city, a piercing scream rent the inky night sky. "Ah! Zhu Zikan! You wicked man! One day, you will be struck by lightning. May you die songless." In a corner of the courtyard, a woman covered in blood crawled out of the woodshed. Her face had been destroyed and her eyes had been hollowed out. Her disfigured face looked terrible. Two old servants came out and kicked her on the head. "Shameless bitch, stop shouting. Don't get our master's ears dirty." Ronke only felt a knife-like pain in her entire body, and her last bit of strength was drained away. She gasped violently, not be able to crawl even an inch longer. Her hands left a long trail of blood on the jade-white floor, making it look so shocking. A pair of colorful cloud pattern embroidered shoes appeared in front of Ronke, but she couldn't see them. The woman's delicate laughter rang out, bringing with it a piercing chill, causing her to feel as if she had fallen into a 1,000-year-old ice cellar. Ronke's entire body trembled as she cried in a miserable voice, "Princess Huizhen. You are so cruel. Adulterers will come to no good end." She had run out of her strength, and her voice was as soft as a mosquito. An intense hatred was reflected in the beautiful eyes of the woman in front of her. The embroidered shoe moved slightly and stepped heavily on Ronke's bloody hand. It grinded her fingers hard, making her experience severe pain. "We'll come to no good end? Hee hee, Ronke. Just because you took possession of Zikan, I can only let you disappear from the world like this. I'm Mrs. Zhu now." Princess Huizhen laughed coldly. Her smile was beautiful, but her eyes were ice-cold. Ronke recalled that over the past 8 years, she had worked so hard to run the restaurant for her husband's family, and the business had begun to flourish, and their son was intelligent and cute. She thought her husband would be grateful to her and they were in deep love with each other. She didn't expect it to be a cruel deception. Her husband, Zhu Zikan, had hooked up with Princess Huizhen. Now he harmed her just to marry Princess Huizhen. What a pair of adulterers. They are so vicious. Ronke had no more tears. Her beautiful eyes had been dug out by the two fierce old servants. Her white clothes were dyed red. The deep pain made her twitch a few times and her hand finally fell. "By the way, Zikan told me to keep your son alive. I won't cut him into pieces until your adulterer came back. It's a pity, Ronke, that you can't see him die. Just imagine that your son will call me mother, and he will die in my hands. What a heartbreaking scene it is." When Ronke heard these words, she immediately looked up and stared at Princess Huizhen with her hollow eye sockets. Huizhen was shocked. She thought that the woman was dying, but she suddenly raised her head. Seeing the blood on her face, she felt deeply frightened and her heart trembled. "Princess Huizhen. Zhu Zikan. Please spare his life. Tansy is innocent. If you dare to hurt him, I won't let you go. If there is an afterlife, I will definitely make you pay with your blood," Ronke said brokenly. Her voice was weak and her entire body was shivering. She knew she was dying. But they might kill her son. How could she walk with peace? "Ha ha ha. Spare his life?" Princess Huizhen laughed arrogantly. "Did you know that on the night you married Zhu Zikan, the person in the bedroom wasn't him? He was surrounded by his colleagues that night. When he returned to the bridal chamber, he found that the servants had been knocked out. He was shocked and he wanted to escape, but he didn't expect someone to hit him from behind and knock him out as well. When he woke up and went back to your room, you were naked. He put up with all this just to let you take care of the family's business. Do you really think that bastard is his son?" Princess Huizen's words made Rongke feel as if she was struck by lightning. She was shocked and her breath was getting weaker and weaker. Scenes of the past rose before her eyes. No wonder Zhu Zikeng had been cold to her ever since their wedding and never got close to her again. However, Rongke naively thought that it was because she was pregnant and he was busy. And after Tansi was born, this man only looked at him strangely. He never said a word of comfort to the kid and never had any joy on his face. Zhu Zikeng became more and more unwilling to step into her courtyard. He began to flirt with the servants openly. But she still believed that he just needed a few concubines. Now she knew why. She was kept in the dark. On their wedding night, she was exhausted and fell to sleep before her husband came back. She thought that was Zhu Zikeng. After all, the Zhu's family was rich. There were several servants and maids guarding the door. How could someone enter the mansion unnoticed? And oh, some burglars broke into your parents' house last night, and your parents died tragically. These words were like an invisible sharp sword that cut her heart into 1,000 pieces. A dull pain surged from her chest, as a fishy liquid gushed out. Now, her eyes were no more painful than her heart. She raised her head, and used her last breath to scream at the cruel woman who was looking down at her from above, Princess Huizen, Zhu Zikeng. I, Rongke, will remember you. Even if I were born a wicked woman and died an evil ghost, I want you to die a violent death. After these words, her fingers slowly drooped down, and her head heavily prostrated on the ground without a sound. Only her curses still echoed in her ears. The two old servants' faces were deathly pale. Looking at the tragic scene before them, they couldn't help but feel fear for the princess's viciousness. Huizen's face became incomparably pale. The two old servants hurriedly said, "Princess, you'd better leave here immediately. This kind of filthy place is blasphemous for princesses' eyes." Princess Huizen felt cold sweat trickling down her body. She glared hatefully at Rongke on the ground. Her curse was like a magic sound, always twining and echoing in her ears. Huizen staggered a bit, and with the help of a waiter, she left in a hurry. A crescent moon floated in the night sky. The bright stars were getting dimmer, as the moon gradually turned blood red. The wind growled and dark clouds slowly gathered as darkness fell. Dark clouds slowly gathered